Hey, welcome back. Tonight's lesson we're going to be building a simple little boring bar blank that you'd use on like a boring head or in a lathe that you'd have to grind it yourself. It's going to be made out of tungsten, so we're going to make sure that we get our materials correct. Some of the dimensions that we're going to add to this thing are we're going to add a circularity reference in here, and we're also going to add a couple datums. Those are going to be fairly new to you as well. One other thing is there's going to be an intersection point here in this drawings to where this radius comes out, where the shank would actually fit into this little tapered portion of it. So to begin with, we also know that the head is going to be offset ever so slightly so we can actually reach into the deeper hole so we can get our bore the way we want it. We got a detailed view that's going to be relatively new. We'll worry about talking about the title block a little bit later. So I've created a drawing of nominal sizes so we don't have to worry about the tolerances that we can go by as far as creating our model. So in the model itself, looks like we have a 3/8 shank. It's going to be 1 inch long, 2 inches to the head, and 2 inches and 7/32 overall, or 2 inches 2/18 overall. The head diameter is also going to be 3/8 of an inch. Now notice this thing has got a 6-degree taper, so it drops 3 degrees per side. So the 3/8 boring head portion of it is going to be 52 thousandths off center. This is just some details of this flat that we're going to have added to our shank so this thing doesn't rotate in our tool holder itself. So let's go ahead and get started. Make sure that you got SolidWorks open. We want to be in inches, and so make sure that you verify that. Let's go ahead and create a new part. We want to verify down the bottom right hand side that it is in inches, and mine is. So let's start with an extruded boss base, and I want to start on the front plane. Shank diameter was 3/8. So we're going to come down, place this. It's going to be 0.375, and now I can exit my sketch, and this feature will come out here. So we want it to be 1 inch long. So now we have 1 inch of material here. We go ahead and accept it. Now what I failed to do was actually change my material. Before I forget, let's go ahead and edit our material. So tungsten is going to be under other metals. So let's select tungsten and apply and close. Notice that it changes ever so slightly in the color. So now we've got some mask properties that we can apply to this thing. So our next feature is this little tapered area that we have right here. So I want to add this 6-degree tapered area, and it's also 1 inch from here to the end of this. So let's go ahead and let's create another extruded boss base. On this face, I want to select a circle. I'm just going to place it here, pull it up, and I want to add some relations to it. I want to kind of show you what we're trying to do. So let's come up and select add relations. So we've got a circle. It should be still selected unless you hit the escape key or something. I want to pick this outer edge. I want to make it tangent. Now, I'm still in adding relations, so I want to select our point of origin, and I want to select the center point of our circle that we just drew, and we want to make it vertical. Now, we only need one other constraint to tie this up, and we're going to do that. We're going to use that with the size, and we said that was 0.281. So that was the intersection point of our drawing right here. So we come down and look at it, and it says 0.281. So this is where this portion of it would meet this shank. So we come back to 81. Let's go ahead and change our decimal places where you can kind of see what's going on. So we want to go to units. We're still there. Let's change these to 4 decimal places so it kind of shows you what we've got going on here. So as we're looking at this, it's just a circle kind of offset on that face. So we exit our sketch. If we'd selected features and extrusion, it should be good. Now we still want to make sure that we merge results, but remember this thing has a 6-degree taper. So if I come over here and I select taper and I pick 3 degrees, it's going to have 3 degrees on this side and 3 degrees on this side, so it's going to be a 6-degree included angle. So we want to go ahead and accept that feature. So we now have part of our boring bar. So the next thing that we want to do is we're going to want to place this head on the very end of it. But now notice this thing is 52 thousandths away from the center point of this shank right here. So let's come back up here, and we want to select extruded boss base. We want to pick this face. I want to come up and grab a circle, place it out here. I'm just going to make it big where we can see what's going on. Now I want to add relations. I'm going to clear this out. I want the center point of my circle and their point of origin, I want those two to be vertical. I also want a distance, a smart dimension, between the two, and that was 0.052. And then the next thing that we have is the size of this, which was 0.375. So we're fully defined. We have this. So we exit our sketch. We know that it's not 1 inch long. I remember that it was 0.218. So that's the size of it. We want to go ahead and accept that as well. So that is the beginnings of our boring bar. Now, we got a couple fillets on here as well. So as I look at this fillet, we've got a 60 thousandths radius here and a 30 thousandths here. Let's go ahead and we can place. Let's do something different. Let's put the flat in here next before we put our fillets on. We can always put our fillets on at the end. Sometimes it's easier to turn those on and off if they're at the end of it without it affecting our model. So I like keeping mine at the end. But I've forgotten to put this flat on here, so let's go back and do that. So this thing to the midpoint is 3/8. It's 30 thousandths in depth. The flat itself is 0.156 and it's 90 degree, includes an angle. Okay, so I'm going to use my Control 7 to put it in an isometric view. I'm going to come over to the tree, hover over the planes. I think I want to use the top plane, so I select the top plane, I click on it, and in the flyout, it allows me to select sketch. So I'm going to have something along those lines. I'm going to come up and select the line command, place something that looks a little like this. I'm not too concerned about the shape at the moment, so I want to add some relations. This last line is still highlighted blue. I'm going to select this other line. I want to make those two equal. Now, I'm going to still use a smart dimension, so I pick this and that line, and I want to make those two 90 degrees. This was 0.156 in length. This was 0.03. And now, the distance from the back of our shank to the midpoint. So I come hover over this, and I may have to right click on it. And then in my flyout, I can select midpoint, and I'm going to pull it out and place it down. And I want that to be 0.375. So as I'm looking at my sketch, I'm fully defined. I can tell down here, so we're fully defined. So I can't remember if I said extruded cut or not, so I'm going to come back to my features command, select extruded cut. In this case, I want it to be through both directions. I want to verify that my arrow is pointing up, so I'm going to remove this material here, and I go ahead and accept it. So I'm going to use the Control 7 command. And now I need to save this thing. So I'm going to save it out as junk. Alright, so now we talked about putting our fillets on here. I remember that they were 0.06 and 0.03. So let's select the fillet command and we'll say 0.06. And pick that, accept it. I want to add another fillet of 0.03. I want to rotate this around and I want to pick this side right here. And I want to accept it as well. So now we've got our model made. This would be a good time where we can go ahead and verify our material properties and everything to make sure that it's good. Control 7 or isometric view. I'm going to save it one more time, and now I want to create my drawing. So File, make a drawing for part. Alright, I'm going to remove my title block just to give us a little bit of room where we can see what's going on. So I want to come down here to this double chevron, select on the properties, and I want to lose the display sheet format. So now I have all the paper space out here. I want to come up to my view palette. I want to place my front view in this general area, place my right side view, and the top view. Now, the only reason why I have this one out here is so I can kind of show you a detail view. So I'm going to come up and select detail view, place it in this midpoint area somewhere, about that big. Move it over, and that way I have room, so the scale's 4:1. Pretty happy with that, so we're going to kind of keep moving forward. Now, as we look at our general title block, we've got some different we got some other type tolerances that we haven't used yet. So let's go ahead and let's start placing those out here. Alright. So in annotations, I want to use Smart Dimension. I want to come place it here. One of the problems that I have is this doesn't have enough decimal places, so that needs to be 4 decimal places. And the tolerance precision is going to be limit tolerance, and I think it was 0.0001, and it was -4/10, or 0.0004. And we, if I'm not mistaken, we also had a geometric tolerance on this. So I'm going to come select geometric tolerance. It opens this fly out right here up. So our symbol is going to be circularity, and we want a circularity tolerance of 0.0005. And OK. And now I can place this here. So I want to come down and verify whether that is correct. So 375.1 and 374.6. 375.1 and 374.6. So let's do our other dimension. Now let's go ahead and place some of these datum features on here. So as we're looking at this, we have A and B. So let's come up and add a datum feature. I'm going to pick A here, and B was here. So place all that there. We're not going to worry about C at the moment. Alright, so now let's put some other dimensions on here. So let's come here. We're going to say the shank was 1. The length from here to here was 2. And our overall length was 2 and 2/18, I think. We got something incorrect somewhere, so we need to verify what's going on. So we got 2, 222. Let's go back to our model and double check it. Let's verify this one. 1. Oh, I just didn't have it as 3 place decimals. Let's come through here and let's change our document properties to the units. Let's make everything 3. I don't know that it's really going to affect what we've already done. So it did. So we're 2, 218. Alright, so we're good there. And now, next one that we've got is, let's take a look at this dimension here. It's going to be a bilateral tolerance, so let's place it out there. So we can come place it here. It's 3 place decimals. It's going to be bilateral, and it was plus 0.005 and minus 0.001. We accept it, and that's the size that we're looking for on our drawing. It is. Now let's come back and let's show you how to create this intersection point. Okay, so I'm in the sketch mode here. I'm going to hold my control key down, so I control and hold it down and control and click this line as well, and then I come up and I select a sketch point, and it creates this reference line here. So now I'm able to create a dimension from here to where that intersection point would be, and it's going to be 0.281. So we can now come select our radius, place it down, and we got a 30 thousandths radius on this end. We can place it here. We can move these things later on. One other thing is we know that our center marks are not the same, so I come select annotations. I want to select a center mark, pick this outer, and it puts a center mark there. So annotations, I want a distance between this outer radius and this inner radius, so it's going to go center mark to center mark, 0.052, and we're still in good shape there. Now, what we want to do up here is we have to dimension our included angle of 90. The distance of this is going to be 30. Then I can, once I place it, I can drag it anywhere I want. The length of the flat is 0.156, and we come from here, and on a hover over this, and I may need to right click on it, and I want to select the midpoint, and now it's going to be a driven dimension on this because it's kind of picking something as a reference. So we say OK, and we now have those. So I think we have enough. Let's see, do we have all of our dimensions on here? Looks like we do. And we want to go ahead and save this and make sure that if you are submitting this in the assignment, you need to go back and correct your title block and get all of that straightened out. So please go ahead and save it, and we will see you on the next one.